What's up, team? Today I want to talk to you a little bit about volume and dose response in relationship to the volume. So some of the feedback that I've been hearing from folks is related to how much work we're doing, that it may not feel like enough on certain days, rarely, but some days that it feels like too much. And what we're really trying to accomplish with the work that we're doing is a specific adaptation. For instance, if we see that people lack, to use one, strength, right? We're going to then create our program, if we look at the days of the week, such that we may hit, heavy stuff 3 days, which will give us a stressor, time to recover, a stressor, time to recover, and so on. Now, there's a appropriate dose response, and that comes from a certain amount of volume and a certain type of movement, depending on the adaptation that we're trying to achieve. So the thing people are most concerned about usually is losing strength. And where we want to simmer down, I guess, with that in terms of losing strength is that absolute strength isn't usually the determiner in this particular sport, right? CrossFit is not a strength game. Strong is necessary, but strength isn't the dividing factor. Generally, it's repeatability, rapid recovery, and the ability to do loads close to our 1RM over and over and over again. So what I mean is, I'm excited if you've got a 250 pound or 115K from my Northwest team, power clean. But what happens when I drop you down to 230 and give you 3 minutes to bang out max reps? We're going to see this thing much more often than we're going to see this thing. And that's the reason why the training on certain days looks the way that it looks. It's because I want to increase your capacity to do more work close to your 1RM than necessarily continuing to drive up your 1RM. And believe it or not, just driving up your 1RM does not specifically improve this score. So if we take 85% of your 1RM max power clean and test it for, let's say, 5 minutes, and then spend the next 3 months just driving your power clean, and then retest this at 85% of that new number, we may not see the kind of improvement that we want to see here, versus let this hang out at 250, and can I drive up this capacity relative to this capacity? So that's one thing right out of the gate that I want to address. Another are days where the volume feels pretty low, and those are going to be the lactate days for most folks. If you're used to coming in and doing something like Barbara, hundreds of reps, and then you see something, I think we had something recently, it was 30 seconds, 30 seconds, 30 seconds, rest, I believe 10 minutes. Pretty sure this was Awesome Cycle, maybe it was a row, this is probably box jump, and maybe we had kettlebell swings here. What we're looking at, and this was at 101%, what I want to see on these numbers is like your sickest output, digging a really big hole here, and on a cellular level, right? That's where we're getting down to. On a cellular level, this becomes important. And what we should see, like let's say we get 15 to 18 here, and then we get 15 to 20 here, and then we get somewhere between 19 to 25, depending on the athlete. Now, if you tell me that the rest is long, or the work is short, or the volume is so low for the day, and you did 3 sets at this end of the spectrum, then I might say, okay, let's take it up a notch. But what I generally start to see is that my first set was 19 on the low end, and my last set might have been something like 14 on the back end. Right? These ones hold pretty steady, these ones hold pretty steady, but this is where I start to see some breakdown. And if we think about the sucky place that is CrossFit as sport, it's on the tail end of this. So really what I want you doing is, okay, doesn't feel like a lot in terms of what's written on the page, but it is a lot in terms of what's happening to your body. And before you start saying, I need more, I want to see you get more out of what's written. And this goes for our men, this goes for our women. Generally the men gripe a little bit more about this one than the ladies, but I would love to see people maximizing what's written down before we start tacking other stuff onto it. Because what I don't want to see is, instead of 3 sets of this, I want to see 5 sets of this where this number continued to drop off, or it never even hit the high end that I wanted to see it in the first place. So the thing that's going to set us apart from other athletes is our ability to, 1, produce incredible power, but 2, to do it over and over and over again. Because we look at regionals or even the games, right? Multiple tasks that are being asked of us where the output needs to be relatively high for a moderate amount of time. And so that's what we're looking for when we train this way. And in terms of maintaining strength, by tapping this, a bunch of times we're going to see the muscular response to that be pretty powerful. So we're not going to lose the strength the way we think of losing it. Just because I'm not hitting my back squat twice a week doesn't mean I don't see my back squat numbers drop off. I think Johnny demonstrated something pretty amazing with his back squat, right? We don't back squat a lot, but we could see that he definitely had more weight to room to go up a couple of weeks ago when we saw his heavy single. I'm also seeing some room for improvement with our ladies in their snatch. We'll talk about that probably in not this next video, the one after that, of how we can get some more out of that work, because I'm really excited to next time we test that to see a couple of those ladies go over 135, maybe into the 140s. So paying attention to what's written down and hitting it at the desired intensity so that we can get the appropriate response to that work is going to be critical. And so bear with me. It may feel like some days you're not hitting a whole lot. On the flip side, if you look down the week or down the month, you may see something that we were planning for, right? So these weeks for our men and for our ladies, we see a moderate heavy Monday, gymnastic-y Tuesday, a pretty light in terms of volume Wednesday. It's a big kick, nothing on Thursday, and then some sort of movement session on Thursday because we got testing on Saturday. Now, a couple of weeks ago, we looked at Kalsu, and I'm going to tell you the numbers were not amazing. And so these are the types of things that we don't want to overtrain as we get ready for. Also, let's see, this past Saturday, we saw the Row Fran tester. And haven't had a chance to dig into those numbers quite yet, but I'm pretty excited to do that this afternoon. And nobody finished that one. It's going to take a miracle to get through that, but I kicked it out to a buddy of mine and actually did it in 5:59. Granted, games competitor from NorCal, so that was pretty exciting to see him get all the way through that. But what we need to be able to do is get through the suck, right? When we start in a sucky place. Stuff like this is going to get us there more than this, because a 575-pound deadlift up from a 565 is not going to make that 21 rep thruster post 1,000 meter row feel any better. Okay, so if you're having questions about why things look the way they look, or why things feel the way they feel, or why volume is the way that it is, just remember that we're looking at a big picture down the road, training for a sport that is highly variable, highly aerobic, which is why we're spending some time in that aerobic pathway, as well as digging into that CP pathway over and over and over and over again, right? So it's not just about hundreds and hundreds of reps, it's about quality reps at a right intensity to produce a specific response. Right on? So let's keep on moving forward, and I'm excited to see what this work produces down the road. Talk to you guys soon.